Welcome to the new season of Love Thy Number. I am so excited to share stories from people who are loving the gift of their own Enneagram numbers. I'm Danae King. I'm a Type 7, and I'm so happy to host this conversation with you. Good morning and welcome back. Welcome to 2020, y'all. It is the big 2020. What's your vision? We're going to hear that a lot. 2020 vision. But this is the first podcast of Love Thy Number in this new year. And y'all, I am super excited to welcome for my first one of this year, Broadway performer. Yes, Broadway. Currently with the Lion King. About to go on tour with the Lion King. She's choreographed for the Memphis Ballet, and I'll let her tell you more things about herself, but I happen to be lucky enough that she's my daughter-in-law. So, welcome, Alia Kache.
Thanks, Danae.
So, what I've been saying for the past several weeks, I've sent out emails and talked about this on Instagram, is we are going to take the format of this podcast and turn it more into a storytelling time. What I think is the power of connecting is sharing our true, authentic stories with each other. And I had said in a post that a lot of times we feel like, well, my story's not that interesting. I mean, yeah, I may have a cool job or, just some mundane things about me, or my story may be too painful. Nobody wants to hear that. But the truth is, we all have an incredibly unique story that someone needs to hear. And not only do people need to hear it, but we need to tell it. So we can hear our own words being said and go, yeah, I really do have an interesting story. And so with that, I want to just take this first show, and coincidentally, she's a Type 1. And now that that's just a coincidence, first show, Type 1. But Alia is a fantastic representation of what the strength is of a Type 1. And I want to ask her to just share some of her background of how she got to be where she is in her career, and then just about your life as a child, how you might have noticed some of what we have talked about a lot of the strengths of being a Type 1. So, go ahead.
Well, before my career started, I did a lot of training in dance. I went to performing arts high school, and I went there with the intention of playing piano, but they didn't allow sixth graders to major in piano.
Oh.
So, yeah. So I said, okay, well, what else do I want to do? And you go and you audition for everything. And they gave me a choice between dance and musical theater. And I had always wanted to dance, so I picked dance. And that just became part of my curriculum. It was, a class that I went to every single day. And from there, I got a scholarship to Chattanooga Ballet. So I trained there in addition to 5 days a week taking classes at school. And there was a lot of very focused attention to dance. I stopped playing piano. I pretty much didn't do anything else but dance in school. I go hang out, but all of my friends were dancers too, so we kind of had a similar path, I guess.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to be a professional dancer.
Well, you are.
I am. But I didn't want to. I wanted to be an architect. And I kind of ended up being one of sorts, organizing chaos and building structure, in a way.
Oh, I love
with the choreography. So I am an architect. I just didn't go about it the way I thought I would.
Oh, see, we're going to have to talk about this off the air. But that is just one of the most powerful representations of just say what it is you really want to do, and then let the how take care of itself.
Yeah.
And I know I've said this before. When I was in my 20s, I was like, I want to run a bed and breakfast. Well,
here you are.
It happens to be my house, and it's not like an official bed and breakfast. But yes, I get to do what I wanted. It just didn't look exactly like
you thought it would look
in my mind. Yeah. So you need to talk about that a little bit more, because not only are you a dancer, but one of your true gifts, or one of your other awesome gifts, is your ability to choreograph. Very technically difficult, because we've seen them. Ballets, or?
Yeah, I would call them ballets.
It's not regular ballet.
It's not classical ballet, but in the sense of it is a story that I'm telling from start to finish. Sometimes it's an abstract story, and so it's not necessarily, you follow the protagonist from point A to B to blah, 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 blah to Z. But, you do, there's a storyline usually. And so I feel like any piece that I do that's over 10 minutes for me is a ballet.
Oh, see, and I've learned so much about the arts genre through you, that, my goodness, watching with a different eye to see how intricate the moves are it's mind-blowing. So yeah, you are an architect of dance, of story. And we went to New York to see your work with Ailey II.
Yes.
That you had written.
Yes.
A piece. And it was, so looking at that and knowing you and some of your, why don't you say what you did with, let's talk about Ailey.
So my time with Ailey, I have spent a long time with Ailey in the organization. A large chunk of my adult life, I went to the school for college, and then as soon as that was over, I danced for Ailey II. A few years after that, I came back to Ailey II as a rehearsal director, and now finally, after many, many years, I finally got a chance to choreograph a piece for Ailey II.
And it was just amazing, just amazing. Okay, so explain just quickly what Ailey and Ailey II is for somebody who may not know.
So the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater is a world-renowned dance company, primarily African-American, and it was founded in... I had all of this history and knew all these things, and I haven't had to do my spiel for a while, so now I've forgotten it. It was founded in 1958, the company. Oh. Yeah, by a man named...
I was born.
Yes, greatness in that year.
Yes.
He was a black choreographer. He started a company with his friend Carmen de Lavalade. They were both from L.A., came to New York, started this company, and I mean, just if you have seen any black dancer anywhere, they have probably trained at the Ailey School at some point, come through that school, come through that legacy. So it's a really big deal in the dance world, and especially in the black dance community.
Oh, and it's just so passionate. It's just, go to see one of them if you get the chance. But once you became rehearsal director, you had to deal... So when you're the dancer and you're following the instructions, or you're following the lead, and you know, this is my part, and I understand the right way to do things. I'm on time. I follow the rules. Yeah. Rules are very important to type 1.
Yeah.
They love, just give me the rules and I will follow them. So when you became rehearsal director, suddenly you're dealing with a group who all have different ways of approaching life.
Yeah. Yes.
So how did that play out in your awareness of, not everybody understands punctuality and instruction?
Yeah. My first, I would say, month or so, the rehearsal process was very difficult for me. Because, you get every hour, you get a 5-minute break. And I call, okay, let's stop the choreographer. Now it's time for a break. And send the dancers out of the room so that they can have their break. And, I'll go back out in the hallway 5 minutes later and say, okay, we're back. And you've got people wandering the halls, people on the phone, people taking their time, putting their snacks away, people, well, now I have to go to the bathroom. Are you serious? You all have watches. You all have phones. You're sitting there with everything in front of you. You know how long 5 minutes is, and you see me in the door. You see me coming to the door. So just get your stuff together and come into the room. And that was very frustrating for me. And even, we would do industrials or things for different companies. They would hire Ailey to dance for an event or something. There was one time we did a video, and there were cues that needed to happen on different music. And I was a musician. I read music, so I'm looking at this going, oh yeah, this is very simple. All you have to do is blah, 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 blah. And it got me in trouble.
Oh.
Because I'm not the boss. As much as I might want to be the boss, I'm not the boss. So I don't get to say, here's how it's going to go.
That has to be very difficult when I know what's right.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about this my goodness, she's been my daughter-in-law for 3 years, and we've talked about this subject before. But that observation of, no, there is a right and a wrong way. And now in life, you're going to come across things where you're going to have to give a little. You've been married to my son. Bless her heart. And we won't talk about him, because I think he's upstairs now going, if she says things about me, or maybe this is our opportunity.
Maybe.
But yeah, so she's married to someone who's not a type 1.
No.
So my goodness, the give and take in a marriage relationship is very different. But in a job that you have, where oh, this is the right thing, there is great order. And if everybody is not doing their movement on the right beat, it's not going to work.
Yeah. It just looks bad.
And I've watched you notice one little, foot movement off. I know this because you sit there with your beautiful smile and very calm, and then it's like your body goes, and I'm like, what? But
yeah,
because details matter to you.
Yeah, very much so. The devil's in the details.
Yes.
That, I like that tedium of making everything just so.
Now, see, that is a brilliant observation of who you are, to be able to say, I like the tedium.
Mm-hmm.
I like the overall. So, are there some instructions to this? I think I can wing it. That doesn't fly in your world.
No.
And you are such a gift to your talent, your art. It is art. But what about, okay, so you found out about the Enneagram a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that. And so she was like, oh, this is me.
Yeah.
Okay. I see this. But when you were young, and like none of us knew about the Enneagram or even any personality, observation tools that are out there that we've talked about before. We just knew we thought how we thought.
Yeah.
But in looking back, maybe, I don't know, it's your story, tell me when, but can you look back on earlier days and think about times in your life where you go, oh, I see it coming out?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember being it must have been kindergarten, because that's kind of the only time you get to color in school. But we all had our own crayons. And I would see kids beside me color, and I hated to wear down the crayons. I didn't like to tear back the paper. I didn't like to sharpen them, because then you had to tear back the paper. So I would color very carefully. So I would basically self-sharpen.
Oh, okay, I hear, like kind of on the angle.
On an angle, so that it just I just keep sharpening the crayon as I go.
Oh, yeah?
And they would last for a really long time. And kids beside me would ask to color with my crayons. And I let one person do it once, and that was it. She destroyed it. I mean, she just scribbled all over the paper and really hard. And that was the end of me letting people use my crayons if they didn't color right. The right way.
I wish you could see her face. She's like, I said right.
If they didn't do it the right way, they couldn't use my crayons. And when my sister came along and was old enough to color and everything, I taught her how to color because I had to share with her. My parents made me.
Oh, so you took control early?
Yeah. She had to do it the way I wanted her to do it if she was going to use my crayons.
How funny. I wish her sister was here on this. That's a whole other story.
Oh, yeah.
She's also an artist performer, so poor mom and dad.
And she does not color inside the lines, but she did when she used my crayons.
Because you were in charge of that.
Yeah. And I had friends that would come over and we'd, my neighbors, they all had kids. And so we'd all go over to each other's houses and play. And when I would go to Marlena's house, we had to clean up everything before I could go home. And when she would come to my house, if her mom would call and say, okay, it's time for Marlena to come home, she would just leave. And leave me to clean up everything. So it got to a point where I wouldn't let her come play at my house anymore. Because she didn't follow the rules. The rules were you clean up before you go.
And this is when you were young.
This is when I was young.
See, this is what I love. I say it all the time. What I love about the Enneagram is while we don't technically type our children, I mean, good grief, people say this all the time. Don't type your children. Don't type your children. But you can see from when they're little. It's like we've talked about my granddaughter. She has the need for speed. She's only 4. She wants to go faster, faster, higher, higher on the swings. And that, I totally relate to that. And I can see so much of my personality in her. And I'm not, never would say she's a mini-me, but I understand how that little mind thinks. And when you're, as parents, when you're able to go, oh, okay, order and structure is very important to one child. Yeah. It may not be at all to the other. It doesn't mean they should get away with not cleaning up.
Yeah.
But to be able to recognize it's not just, oh, she's picky. No, this is how you're wired.
Yeah. I can't help it.
I can hone it at some point, but you can't change who you are. And that's what I think. I think we're born with it. Mm-hmm. I think we grow in our personalities according to our environment, our nurture and nature. But you can just see it when they're little. That some literally want to color in the lines.
Yeah.
And your sister did not.
She did not.
And you are both fantastic artists, but very different. Mm-hmm. Very different. So, when you went to school in the 6th grade, you started performing arts school in the 6th grade?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't think I realized you went that early. In my mind, I've always thought it was a high school thing.
Nope. It started in 6th grade.
So do you remember your teachers noticing anything?
I was always very serious. Yeah. It's funny. I play much more now than I did when I was a kid. I was so serious. Mm-hmm. And so they knew, when I was attached to it, like this is what I'm doing right now. And my focus was in that moment on that thing.
And they knew they could count on you. Mm-hmm. So you get to be line leader and things like that.
Yes. I was often the person in the front, or they would
really?
give. Mm-hmm,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I was the person that would lead the line, or I would have a solo because they knew they could say, "Okay, here's some information. Go do a thing," and leave me alone while they worked with everyone else that needed more attention.
See, and we recognize that. And whether teachers or, the Enneagram's becoming very used in business because people have never really known how to define, this person's a good project manager. This person's in sales. And the project manager is like, never go out and try to sell something.
Yeah.
So recognizing this, it is natural. It's just that the Enneagram has allowed us to put language to what it is. And so, yeah, I know. Because teachers, that's the dependable one. She's going to do it right. And it can often be a burden to someone who gets kind of pigeonholed in that responsibility, because you, as that type who's very dependable, has it ever been, especially like when you were young, been like, I can't make a mistake because they trust me so I can't.
I was afraid of disappointment.
Yes.
I was so afraid of disappointing people.
Okay.
Still afraid of disappointing people. I mean, I care a little less now.
Good. Again, because she's married to Ryan.
And at a certain point, it's like, okay, I can't hold on to this.
Right.
I have to let some of this go. But burnout, that was a thing. It would happen all the time. And I would just go, and carry all of everything until I would just break.
Yeah. Because from what I understand, and I'd like to hear a little bit about this, Type 1s have this voice. They call it the internal judge or critic that is just kind of constantly playing in the background. And many places that I've been and heard people talk about it from their type as being a Type 1 are very surprised that this is not what goes on in everybody's head.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have this critic telling you, you could have done better. Does that happen?
All the time.
Can you explain what is that like?
Sometimes it's helpful because it's like, no, you can't do this. This is it's not going to be good enough. No one's going to like you. No one's going to hire you. No one's going to participate. No one cares. And because I'm stubborn, I go, okay, watch this.
Oh, so it works in your favor.
Sometimes. If I can rally myself to spite myself, I more than persevere.
If I can rally myself
to spite myself.
I may have to put that up as a quote. But see, because I can tell you, a Type 7 doesn't have that in my head. There's no critic. It's not like I don't ever stop and consider consequences of things needing to be done in a way or not in a way. But there's always room to move, room to readjust, reframe it, do it, throw caution to the wind. Well, throw caution to the wind is probably not in your vernacular.
No, that's not really something that I do. Not easily. Well, definitely not something that I do easily. I mean, the piece that I did for Ailey II, for example, I worked so hard to get to the point where I would be invited to do a piece.
Yes.
And I get there and I'm working with these dancers, and because right away they're not giving me what I want, I go, it's me. This is bad. This is like my movement is not good because they don't look good doing it. And it's like, well, no, Aaliyah, they just learned it. And I know that my particular style is not easy to do. And it's very detail oriented. There's a lot of nuance, and working with young dancers who don't necessarily work in nuance. They're just trying to pick up the big picture.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and you are not.
And I'm not giving them the big picture. I'm wanting to see the nuance so that I can get to the big picture. but I don't feel like I can get to the bigger picture until the details are met.
Absolutely.
But for me, once you understand what it is I'm asking you to do, we'll get there. We'll get to the final picture. A to Q is going to take forever. But Q to Z we're going to get there instantly.
Once you get it.
Yeah. And they want to get to Q tomorrow.
Right.
So they're ignoring all of the little stuff that I'm asking them to do.
So I love to go back to you saying you wanted to be an architect.
Yeah.
Because if you're using that analogy with your dancers and they understand, we're not just going to throw some beams up and nail some whatever, and throw some suspension rods out there. You want your architect to be in the details. And you are. Once they understand and value that they have a gift of having someone who cares about making them look their best.
Yeah.
And in turn, of course,
Yeah.
it makes you it's good. So this is your dancing career, and mostly this has been your life since you were in the 6th grade.
Yeah.
What do you think long term? Where would you see taking the gift of all the things that you do well?
I would love to produce and choreograph and direct large-scale evening-length productions. Broadway shows, basically.
Yes?
Yeah.
Say it, girl. Put it out to the universe.
That's what I want to do.
That's okay. Well, then you heard it here. It has now been released to the universe. I love watching you take such pride in the things that you do. I love seeing how you take care of your home, how you take care of my son, because he needs taking care of. Oh, I'm just teasing.
He takes care of me, too.
I know this. But to watch, I've been able to see you now for the past 5 years and see your confidence in what you do blossom, see you relax more in who you are. And it's just the beginning. It really is. You're so young, but her birthday is in, I don't know what day it is. Her birthday is
on Friday.
It's Friday, January 3rd. So, New Year, birthday, great things happening for her. She will be on tour with the Lion King starting in March.
Yes.
And be up in I don't know the geography, up in the north somewhere.
Well, we'll be in Toledo, Ohio, Omaha, Nebraska, Denver, Colorado, and Tempe, Arizona. That's where I'll be with them.
Yes.
And then the schedule continues, and then I will be bouncing around.
Well, I am so happy that you are my first guest of this new year. We're going to go, well, they're fixing to go. It's New Year's Eve when we're recording this. And so what a beautiful moment for me to say, let's ring in this new year with all the opportunities that are out there for all of us. Take your magic, take your strengths, and know that you are loved. Kind of shut that little voice up in your head. Use it when necessary, but we love you so much. You're such a valuable part of this family.
Thank you.
And I just treasure your spirit. And as always, I hope all of you focus on the strength of your number and truly get to know the joy of who you are by loving your number.
Thank you, Alia. Thanks, Danae.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.